Welcome back to another episode of the Momentum Chef podcast. In this episode, Nishant and I are we're gonna update our NBA daily pick'em from the last time and make new predictions. We're gonna react to the Matthew Stafford trade that happened earlier today, and we're gonna also discuss the most likely moves in the next in the rest of the off season. So without further ado, let's just get into the NBA pick'em. So these were the games. These were the picks. These were my picks. These were Nishant's picks. And Pacers Hornets. We both picked all these games. We picked the same. Nuggets versus Spurs. Nishant picked. You picked the Nuggets. I picked the Spurs. And I know for a fact the Spurs won. So the winner is me. But in the next game, I'm pretty sure the Mavericks beat the Jazz.
No, the
So
Jazz one.
this whole
The
day
Jazz
went
one.
high. So I suppose we can just give this one as a tie.
Yeah.
This day was a tie. Okay, let's make our predictions for the next game.
All right. So the games tomorrow are Clippers, Knicks,
Okay,
Nuggets, Jazz, Sixers, Pacers, Magic, Raptors, right? Magic, Raptors. Yeah. Nets, Wizards, and Cavs, Timberwolves.
okay, so I'll start us off with the first game, Clippers Knicks. I'm gonna have to go with the Clippers because they are
That's
the
the
better
better team.
team.
Yeah, same. I got the Clippers as well.
Nuggets Jazz. I know the Jazz are doing good, but I just have a feeling the Nuggets are gonna win.
Think they're gonna build a Jazz 11 game winning streak?
Yeah,
Dang.
it
All right, I'm
has
gonna
to end.
take the. I'm gonna take the Jazz. I don't know. Obviously, one time I'm gonna
Sixers
be wrong.
Pacers. I'm gonna take the Sixers. They're the better team.
Yeah, I'll take the Sixers as well.
Magic Raptors. I'm actually gonna take the Magic. I know the Raptors are probably a better team at their best, but they've been losing so much recently that I don't even know if right now they're better than the Magic.
Because the Magic have a better record. I'm gonna take the Raptors though.
The Nets Wizards. I think you're also gonna
Obvious
take
one.
the Nets. Yes,
Nets.
it's obvious.
They're like yeah, the Nets are just way better team.
Cavs Timberwolves. I'm gonna go with the Cavs here.
Same.
What are you going with?
Oh, I'm also gonna take the Cavs. I just think that without if Patty isn't even playing, Timberwolves just have no chance.
Okay, so these are the two games we differ on, and let's see who wins this day. All right,
All
so
right.
that's it for this section. Let's discuss the Matthew Stafford trade now. So first of all, I just want to say it's an overpay. I think they should have given up Jared Goff and these two first round picks or something, and maybe try to call up Houston and see if that's enough. Because like if Matthew Stafford, who's 31 and significantly worse than Watson, is worth this, like I don't see any way like you give up less than 4 or 5 first round picks for Watson if you're just by comparing values.
Yeah. To me, I think they probably called up Houston because there's no way they would have just traded for Stafford without asking Houston, right? I think Houston still has that mentality that they're gonna try to keep Watson, and I think if Stafford got traded for this, even though Jared Goff's contract is just horrible, I think Watson has to be traded for like 4 first now or like an insane young talent like a Miles Garrett and multiple first round picks or something like that where it's like the Texans are getting a lot of value. But I saw a report saying that like the Broncos, the Panthers, and like two other teams were trying to get Matthew Stafford, right? And or I think the Niners, right? And the Rams had to up the offer to get him because they want to make sure that he doesn't go to one of those teams. And they also, I guess, they're really set on their roster becoming good. And then um, Matthew Stafford's in his 12 years, right? He's had 11 games where running backs had 100 yards. Think about that. In 12 years, he's had 11. He's only had 11 games where running back had 100 yards. And with Cam Akers, like not even Cam Akers, just Sean McVay's run game, like I think he's gonna be able to have a lot more success because he'll have an actual running game to depend on. Yeah, and he's never really had that. Um, but at the same time, you can't say it's an overpay because they gave up Goff, who's still like a decent quarterback, and they gave up 2 first-round picks and a third-round pick. So unless they win a championship or they do something special, I don't really know if it was worth it that way.
So I think the difference is with him with Matthew Stafford, they've gotten better, but with Watson, I'd probably pick them as favorites to win the whole NFC. With Stafford, I still think they probably lose their division still if
Who did they lose to though?
the 49ers
Seattle or San Francisco?
49ers
49ers. Yeah, maybe right.
if they're healthy. And then the problem with the Rams is they have like a core of about 4 or 5 players that are the most important, the highest paid ones, and if one of them goes down, a lot of your they depend a lot on these few players, and that really could hurt them.
Yeah, but the team is still like I don't know how good these guys are because obviously like Donald and Ramsey are really good, so like our other cornerbacks might be looking good or but I feel like they've still shown that they're a little bit good. And one of Goff's main problems was that like he had I think he has the second most turnovers in the league since 2017, like after Winston or something like that, or Eli Manning. I don't know who it was, but and
Carson
ruin the
Wentz.
turnover. Yeah, like and Matthew Stafford, even if he doesn't put out that much more production, just not having those many turnovers, it can win the Rams games because if you think about it, they had the number one defense. They had Cup, Woods, Akers, and they only finished 10-6. And I don't know. I feel like there's got to be like a reason for that. It's probably the turnovers that Goff was having because like their roster seemed like it was better than a 10-6 team to me at least. I don't know if it's like or their stats at least because their stats look like a 12-14, but they only won 10 games and they even lost the Jets. Like something was just not adding right, if that makes sense. And I think with the turnovers, it can help Stafford. And now Stafford's coming in playing with the better coaching he's ever had. Like even Matt Patricia, which is like a horrible coach. Like I think he just looked good because he was playing with Bill Belichick, and now playing with Sean McVay, who's like one of the top 5 coaches in the NFL. I think it's gonna really help him.
What?
I said like playing with Sean McVay as one of the top 5 coaches in the NFL. It's really gonna help Matthew Stafford as he's gonna like finally have a really good system because he was just playing with Matt Patricia and
Very
like
top head coach.
I I think he is just based on his success so far. He's never had a losing season in his 4 or 5 seasons, and
It's
he's
second best. So let's say for the second best coach, there you've got uh, Andy Reid is in that discussion. You can put Bruce Arians in that discussion. You can put Kevin Stefanski in that discussion. And
I
mind
don't see I don't think Kevin
you,
Stefanski has enough. Like he's only had 1 year with the Browns, so I don't think he has enough credibility. Bruce Arians, maybe, but at the same time, like uh, you can give some of the success to Brady, but I guess that's still like he's still an amazing coach. And then
Nishant,
obviously Andy Reid,
who's the best defensive player in the league, in your opinion?
Aaron Donald,
Which team does he play for?
Rams,
Who's the best defensive back in the league?
back or cornerback.
Same, they're both the same thing.
I think Tyrann Matthews is the best defensive back, but I think Jalen Ramsey is the best cornerback.
And what team does he play for?
The Rams,
Okay. Who had the number one defense in the league last year?
the Rams.
So what do you mean Bruce Arians is coasting off of Tom Brady's success? Sean McVay
Okay,
has
no, but
more
but but
talent
Sean,
than
Sean
anyone else.
McVay Sean McVay has made the Super Bowl without Ramsey. He also he also made the Super Bowl with a better offense and defense at that point. Like in that season, his offense was better than his like defense statistic wise. And like um,
Yeah, because he had Todd Gurley.
but like as you've seen, like running backs are almost like always like really good because of their system to some extent. And obviously Todd Gurley's still like a way better talent than almost all the running backs in the league when he was healthy. But at the same time, like you gotta attribute that to some of his success. And I think it's also gonna be a test to see how good Sean McVay actually is at the same time because if Goff like if if the Rams don't like improve, their offense doesn't improve from last year, and the turnovers still happen with Matthew Stafford, that means that it wasn't necessarily Goff that was the problem, and it could have been Sean McVay. So maybe you're right to some extent. But I think just the success so far and the fact that everybody's hiring these like Rams coaches means that other people in the league also think that like the Rams like Sean McVay is like a good coach if that makes sense because you like to hire a lot of these assistants from these really good head coaches and stuff. I mean, obviously, I think Andy Reid might be the second best, which is a good point that you made, but I think he's top five still.
You could
All right,
also throw in Sean McDermott.
yeah, maybe you're right. I think there's a few coaches that are in the discussion, but I feel like same with Sean McDermott. I feel like he doesn't have enough years under. He needs to have like at least 3 years
He's
of
not
like
top five.
success.
I
Who's Sean
named four
McVay?
guys. I named four guys who can compete for second best. So he's
But
not
I
top.
think no. I mean, I think only him and Andy Reid can compete for second best.
No,
In my opinion, I don't. I mean, it's a hard discussion to make because like you don't really know the whole like you don't know like you can't really tell the whole job of a head coach to some extent because like you don't really know exactly what they're doing and how they're developing players and everything like that. So, but just in my opinion, from what I've seen, I feel like he's the second best because Kevin Stefanski's only been the coach of the Browns for a year. Tom McDermott's only been the coach for the Bills for like 2 or 3 years or
how many
even one year.
games?
I don't
How
know.
many games did the Rams win? 10.
Yeah,
So the Patriots winning 7 games and honestly also having a shot to win like 10 games is far more impressive, and I'll tell you why. So if they manage
I'm not
to,
comparing him to Bill Belichick though.
because look, that's what I'm saying. Look, I, I legitimately could say at every single position the Rams are better. Every significant position. Who has a better defensive line? They've got Aaron Donald. Who do the Patriots have? They've got Stephon Gilmore, but he was injured for most of the
But
year or COVID or
how do
whatever.
you like
And even if
these players
and
like all
even
the
if
Rams
he's
players?
healthy, I think when healthy he's better than Jalen Ramsey, but it's still pretty close. So he's got a better defensive back. He has no receivers whatsoever. Whereas Cooper Cup and Robert Woods, these guys are good. Jared Goff's nothing special, but he was better than Cam Newton. Like he had a
Can I make
better
a
run
run
game than
here?
Cam Newton. It was literally in every single way. Uh, Sean McVay had a better team, yet he barely finished. He barely did better than him.
Sean McVay only has like 5 or 6 players on his roster that that developed out of his team, if that makes sense. Like like Jalen Ramsey, he developed on the Jaguars, and then like Andrew Whitworth and like 2 or 3 other guys like skilled players actually developed outside of his team. But like if you look at Cooper Cup, you look at Cam Akers, look at Aaron Donald, all of these guys like developed under the Rams, which like gives Sean McVay some of that credit because he like I'm not gonna say he like made them into the players they are today, but he like they developed under the Rams system, if that makes sense. And obviously, I'm not comparing him to the Patriots. Bill Belichick is the best coach in the NFL, but to
Sean,
me, he
which
could be a
team did
second.
Tom Brady develop under?
The Patriots.
Exactly. Tom Brady on his own is better than all those guys, times 10.
Yeah, but like, wait, what was that argument for though?
You're saying he's better developing players. Who developed Tom Brady?
Wait, I never said he's better developing players than Belichick. I'm saying he's he's like I'm just saying you're not giving credit for the fact that those players developed under him. That's what I'm saying. But Belichick's the best like developing player coach in the league, as we've seen, because he continues to build good teams like throughout his whole career, if that makes sense.
I mean, he's not a bad coach. I mean, and he doesn't. Jared Goff is just consistently bad. So it's not like Josh Allen or Aaron Rodgers, where he's got choke artists, where you don't get what you expect from them in the playoffs because they're trash. You sort of plan for Jared Goff making mistakes or something. So
I
that's
think
actually
to
good
me the
insight.
only coaches that actually to me the 4 best coaches in the league are actually my 5 best in my opinion are Belichick, Reed, Sean McVay, Arians, and Kyle Shanahan, who's the Niners coach. Because I feel like if the Niners were healthy, they could have won the NFC even this year. But I don't know if they could be. Actually, maybe they might not have beaten Brady, but They beat Rodgers last year, so I think they can beat him again this year, even if his team was better. So I'm not gonna say they're gonna be Brady because I don't really know. Like Tampa could have still beaten them, but yeah. And then Kevin Stefanski and Sean McDermott, I feel like it's their first year, and you don't really know like maybe like same thing with young quarterbacks, right? You don't know how good they actually are until teams start filming on them, and you see how good of coaches they actually are. So we'll see coming up. What do you think about Goff on the Lions? Do you think um, he's just gonna get completely hated because he doesn't really have a good system and he's making a bunch of money?
What?
Like, do you think Goff's gonna get like a bunch of hate now because he's in a bad system? He's not gonna have a lot of money. Like, he's making so much money, so like honestly, like the fact that the Lions took on Goff, it kind of helps the Rams to some extent because like that contract, it's like 4 year, 135 million or something like that. That's like worse than that's like the same contract that Paul George gets, and Paul George is a basketball player. You know, like what do you think about Goff being on the Lions? I guess my question.
I mean, I still don't think they're gonna win their division. So, and they gave up two first round picks and a third round pick and Jared Goff.
No, I'm saying, what do you think about like the situation the Lions have now with Goff and stuff?
Oh, you're talking about the Lions.
Yeah,
I don't know. They're garbage. It doesn't matter.
yeah. But the Rams, see what the Rams did, they also freed up some cap space. They might be able to sign like another player, and they also those first round picks, like although they're first round picks, they're gonna be like 20 something first round picks. So,
That's worse
but
for them.
still in the NFL, first round picks are still way more valuable than the NBA. So like those first round picks could still get you like good players, like as we've seen, like Justin Jefferson from this year and things like that. I guess. All right. Now that we've seen the Matthew Stafford trade, and um, what do you think like Deshaun Watson's value theoretically is now since Matthew Stafford got traded for this? Although the Rams have to give up Jared Goff's contract, like although the Lions have to take on Jared Goff's contract.
I don't know. Why don't you go first?
So obviously, I think Jared Goff has some negative value, but even with those like that two first and third round pick, I think that means that Watson, you need to give up a young franchise cornerstone and at least two, no, maybe three or four first round picks, like or some type of capital that makes the Texans interested, right? And also, um, I think the Texans aren't going to trade him to an AFC team, which makes it even tougher because there's not that many teams that would take him. I think the Panthers could try to trade for him, and they probably have to give up like four first round picks because they were the second team in the Stafford sweepstakes, and I think they really want a QB, which is I don't really know because they honestly like they're not like have the they're not the roster around the quarterback yet to build a championship team. In my opinion, the
I think
defense just isn't there.
Watson's trade value goes up because he's so young and so good that even bad teams would like to get him.
No, and
Whereas
also
Matthew Stafford, if you're a bad team, you really don't want Matthew Stafford. Like, is he an improvement over the guy you've got? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Like, it depends on the situation, but you can't say for sure he's going to be an improvement. And Sean Watson is, and so the bad team angle comes in there, and then facing competition from these bad teams, good teams like the 49ers might want to make a move. Like if going to the 49ers, Matthew Stafford just wasn't a good idea, especially not giving up two first round picks and all that, because how much better is he than Jimmy Garoppolo? It fits into the thing about is he better? Is he how much better is he and all that? So like if you're gonna trade for him, I think the good team market's even better. Like the what's it called?
also by the
Dolphins.
way, the Niners were in the Stafford sweepstakes, but I think to your point, like I think the Rams felt like just upgrading from Goff and his contract is more important than the Niners felt upgrading from Garoppolo is. And another interesting point I want to make about this trade is the fact that the Rams gave consecutive first round picks, and no team has done that since 1967 in a trade or 1987. Some 19 something seven, which is before the 90s, which is really crazy because like in the NBA they don't have that rule where you can't do that, and Like the fact that the Rams are giving up all these first round picks, they haven't picked a first rounder since Goff, which was in 2016. Now it's 2021. So they've just they just took a different route where they're picking these guys like in the third and fourth round and just developing them, and then trading for a few stars like Ramsey and um, Stafford if you consider him a star. I don't know if you do, but um, and Brandon Cooks when they first traded for him and things like that. And the model could work, but at the same time, if they're going all in like this, uh, at some point, if they don't get the championship, they're gonna have to trade these guys before they get too old, because otherwise they're gonna be in a really bad situation, and it's gonna be really tough for them to come back from this. What do you think that any quarterbacks other than Watson and Stafford are gonna be on the move this offseason? Like a Eagles quarterback or anything like that, or do you think there's nothing like that?
Based on what I've heard, Carson Wentz isn't gonna move. Like sort of read, because I think he has too good a relationship with the owner and all that. So I wouldn't be surprised if they bench Jalen Hurts next year. Also, like I truly don't know.
Yeah. Um, this is just that point where if the Eagles have if Carson Wentz ends up becoming good, then they kind of just like kind of wasted Jalen Hurts' career, and I don't really know what they kind of just like a really good quarterback that's young, and even if like Carson Wentz, if you think Carson Wentz can become good, like honestly, I think Jalen Hurts with his age and like less injury risk and all that stuff, he still has more potential, and I feel like they should just play him even if they're paying Carson Wentz that much, and maybe they should do a trade kind of like with like what the Rams just did with Goff, and maybe even attach like picks to get somebody you want, because at some point, like if you believe in Hurts, then you got to just trade Wentz, and even if you have to give up picks to like get off that contract, you can develop Hurts into a solid quarterback, and him being mobile, like if you notice, all the good quarterbacks nowadays they become like mobile quarterbacks, kind of like in the NBA, you need a 3 point shot. All these quarterbacks are like you need to be mobile to be a good quarterback now, and um, almost every young quarterback, like even like Baker, who's probably like the least mobile out of all these guys, he's still like pretty mobile in comparison to like Breeze or Brady or like any of those old guys that used to have a different formula for being a quarterback. So um, Jalen Hurts like has it all in my opinion, and he's also a winner. So I think you got to do what you got to do to develop him. You know?
I mean, that's the obvious choice because Carson Wentz is terrible, but I think the power he has in that organization seems to be too much to like let him get traded to another team. But
Yeah.
maybe like Odell Beckham is on the move, maybe because he's injured. The team is playing better without him and things like that. So maybe you trade him to like the Patriots or a team that needs receiver help.
Yeah, I think the Browns like I think Baker just like kind of relied on OBJ, and he was making too many turnovers trying to force the ball to him. But then once Odell Beckham kind of um got like got injured, Baker was able to start like looking at different receivers and trying to make the open throw more than just forcing it to his best receiver and hoping for the best. And um it's kind of interesting because it kind of derails the value of some. I mean, I don't know if it does, but to me, it kind of derails the value of some of these great wide receivers where maybe it's just an Odell Beckham thing, but if quarterbacks like are playing better without their best wide receiver, the other teams really want that wide receiver itself. Like, doesn't Odell Beckham's value also go down a little bit because of the fact that
Yeah, that's why like
Baker
a team
plays
like
better
the
without him?
Patriots should invest in him because he's gonna be pretty old. He's gonna be like what 30 or 31 or something. He's gonna be coming off an Achilles injury and he has lower trade value. So maybe you could get him for like a third round pick or something like that.
If I was the Patriots, if you really believe that you can win your division, then I think you gotta just trade like 5 first round picks and just get Watson and Odell. But at the same time, if you believe that the Bills and the Dolphins are like too good right now, and the Jets are getting all these young players and the second pick and everything, and you want to just um, start rebuilding, which I don't think they should do since they have Belichick, and they should still try a few more years.
Their
They should
defense
go
is still
down.
good enough. Like I don't know, it's sort of the choice they have to make. Like, do we kickstart the rebuild by trading like Gilmore and all these guys, or do we
Yeah,
like
because
try and
do
play
they
it
want to
out
be
for
in
one or
that?
2 more years?
They're gonna be in a situation where they're gonna be like a wild card or even like divisional team, but they're not gonna be good enough to compete with
The
like the
Chiefs.
Browns or the Chiefs or like obviously the Chiefs or the Browns first. I said the Chiefs first, but like
Yeah,
or
why'd you say the Browns? Why did they get
no,
included?
the Browns just got like my first. I don't know. It's like I don't know if the Browns, but it's like a young team. Like even the Ravens, they're still pretty young. And then you have the Bills, the Dolphins. They're both in your division, and they're both double-digit win teams. Like I don't know. And you know, I don't know if I'm bringing this up, but like for some reason, like every year, even when Brady was on the Patriots, the Dolphins always had like one win against the Patriots. It was like really weird for me. It, do you think there's like some kind of thing that like the gods, the football gods, put on like the Patriots, where they have to like lose to the Dolphins once a year at least, or something like that?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Going back to the Deshaun Watson thing, I feel like another team that might want to trade for him is the Broncos, because I heard that they were really into the Stafford sweepstakes, and um, their roster isn't completely there yet, and they're pretty young. And last year they had a lot of injuries, and obviously they're not going to be like a championship contender in the first year. But I think if they get Watson with Cortland Sutton coming back, they're going to be like maybe a wild card team, like a 6 seed ish. So that'd be good for them. Uh, what do you think that Watson can get traded to anything else, or you know,
Do you think what?
do you think Watson could be traded to any other teams other than the Panthers, the 49ers, or
I
the
mean,
Broncos at
if you
this
think
point?
about it, yes. Other than the Chiefs, every team would be having an upgrade, so you never know. Like,
Uh,
who knows? Like, maybe
but
the Packers make that move if Aaron Rodgers isn't happy, or like things like that,
I
things you
mean,
wouldn't expect.
but do some teams like consider, like if I was the Bills, would I consider, even if like people think that Deshaun Watson's better, would I consider Deshaun Watson better than Josh Allen? That's like where you kind of,
He is. He
I don't
had
know,
better stats with worse receivers in a defense that
but he didn't have better
constantly gave
stats.
him what
He didn't have better stats,
he
just in
did.
terms of like
He did.
if you look at the touchdown to interception ratio, if you count rushing touchdowns too, then he doesn't.
He led the league in in passing yards.
But that's not like everything.
Let's
Like,
compare their stats.
all right,
Okay, and Josh. So he had 37 touchdowns and 4,544 yards. Watson had four less touchdowns, but 300 more yards.
but Josh Allen probably had, how many rushing touchdowns did he have?
Let's see. So season 2020 regular, 16 games. He had 70% from the field, 4,500 yards, 37 to 10, and he fumbled five times. Oh, actually, rushing is also here. What the was rushing? He had one rushing touchdown.
Wait, no, didn't. One, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. He had 9 rushing touchdowns.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
No, he had one. Oh no, 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 never mind. That's whole season. Yeah, so that's eight.
Oh, eight. Okay, I counted one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. Wait, I counted 9.
The postseason doesn't count.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, sorry.
So he had less interceptions. His like touchdown interception was better. He rushed for less yards, but he had a better completion percentage, more yards, higher QB rating, and this is without the best receiver in the league. Or actually, you said they had the best wide receivers in the league. So
I said they
actually,
had better wide receivers than the Chiefs, but I don't know if I consider them the best in the league.
who's better than them?
I think the Buccaneers, the Falcons, and the yeah, I don't, and maybe the Packers, but I don't know.
The Chiefs are the best. If you consider them better, if you consider the Bills better than them, they are the best.
I mean, yeah, at that point, I
And he had
consider
less
the
fumbles also.
huh?
He had less fumbles. He had um four less turnovers to four less touchdowns, higher QB rating, higher completion percentage, more yards, more passing yards per game, more yards per attempt. Everything was better other than touchdowns. And that's it really is easy to have
But he only
deny
had he only had 33 touchdowns though, and
what?
Josh Allen had 46.
No, he didn't.
This is Watson has 33 touchdowns.
He didn't
How
have
many rushing?
46 touchdowns. Are you insane?
Wait, Josh Allen, he had wait,
He had
didn't he
37.
have, yeah, but like he had 9 rushing. Why had
Eight.
8 rushing, so 45.
What?
So he had 45 touchdowns, right?
Yeah.
Technically. I don't know. It's hard to
Who had more rushing yards? 120
probably
yards.
Allen. Allen has
No,
second in the league in
he
rushing
had more
yards.
rushing yards.
Watson did?
Yeah, in less attempts.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang. Okay, I don't know. Dang. I didn't expect that.
It's easy to have lots of rushing yards when your defense gives you good position all the time and all these things. There's literally not a single way that you can say he was better.
Yeah, you're probably right. But like I'm saying from the Bills organization, would they consider Watson better? That's what I'm saying. You have to have some confidence in in your quarterback, and
No,
he
I'm not saying you don't have confidence. I'm not saying you make the trade,
oh
but in every way he's better.
except for touchdowns. But yeah,
Sean, who has the best wide receiver in the league?
Josh Allen.
Who has a second team All Pro as the second receiver?
But okay, like that was I was just
Who?
making that
No, you
argument
didn't
as a
answer. You
joke,
didn't
but
answer.
Cole Beasley, but that's not a good argument
Exactly.
because
If
Brandon Cooks is
John
probably
Brown,
better than
if
him.
John Brown, who is their third receiver, if he got traded to the Texans, he probably would be their best receiver.
Dude, do you like see? Have you seen Brandon Cook's stats? And Will
Their
Fuller
stats
was
are better because they're targeted more.
Will,
Will Fuller's
Will
injured.
no Will Fuller was the
Injured.
fifth. Will Fuller was fifth in the league in receiving yards per game before he got injured.
Yeah, because
Wait,
he's not number one receiver. There's nobody
but
else.
like
That's a
but Josh Allen's
you're
number one
comparing
receiver
John
was.
Brown's things because he has less yards.
I'm not comparing him to. I know, but John Brown's nowhere as skilled as Will Fuller or Brandon Cooks. So and Kenny Stills is also probably better than John Brown in my opinion, because he's just like at the same time Diggs is better than most of them, but Diggs only had like 11
Most
more
of
receiving
them,
yards per game.
most
No,
of
both of
them.
them. I said both of them, but Diggs only had 11 more receiving yards per game than Will Fuller even did when he
So,
was.
what are total yards?
Uh, well, I'm saying like when Will Fuller was there, but obviously Will Fuller missed like the last 4 or 5 games with like the drug thing, but when that wasn't the case, I'm just. I mean, obviously Diggs is a better player, but um, you can't say that John Brown comes into the Texans and becomes the number one
Yeah, you can
receiver.
easily.
What, dude? Like, John Brown's not even better than the Texans' third receiver. Like when the season started, John Brown wasn't even the Bills' third receiver. It was like McKenzie.
Okay, then if Isaiah McKenzie or whoever shows up, he'll be the Texans' best receiver.
Like Brandon Cooks this year, he had 1,150 yards, 14 yards per reception, six
Brandon
touchdowns.
Cooks a third stringer to two All Pros, a first team
But
All
but
Pro, best
no,
receiver in the league,
but
and
your
another All
argument
Pro, like one of the
your
six
your
best receivers in the league.
but your argument is that John Brown comes in and becomes the number one receiver. But I'm saying that he wouldn't even be the number three receiver on the Texans.
Easily he would. If he's like the number three or number four receiver behind two All Pros, he'll easily be the number one receiver behind these guys.
Okay, fine, but let's just see how much. Let's see what his stats are, even if he was a number three receiver.
Watson's
Okay.
better.
Huh?
Do you think Josh Allen's better than Watson? Actually, of course you do. You think he's better than Mahomes, so there's no
Well,
point making.
I don't know if I think that anymore. Okay, but so John Brown, he had 400 yards this season.
So you
How does that
jumped
even?
off the bandwagon, jumped off the Josh Allen bandwagon.
Oh, it's not a bandwagon.
Yeah, it is. You were on
That
that
is a
hype train
bandwagon.
for so long.
But it's not a
Hey, that's what
bandwagon
happens
if I've been
when
liking him for
that's what
like if I've
happens
been liking him for 8 years.
when your player chokes. So
No, but if I've been liking him for like 6 7 years, then how's it a bandwagon?
said he's better than Patrick Mahomes.
But that's not considered a bandwagon. That's just my opinion
Yeah,
on the
but you you
player. Like
you jumped off of him like easily. After one game, you decided, oh, you know what, this guy isn't it.
because I was wrong. Like that's just, I was just
Exactly.
wrong
So you
about it.
jumped off the bandwagon.
It's like how Max Kellerman was wrong about the Clippers against the Lakers.
Yeah, and he jumped off that bandwagon, and he
Okay,
instantly like,
fine
oh
then.
my bad. It's like instantly like my bad. Lakers are the best.
All right, then maybe. But okay. But going back to the argument about John
No, no,
Brown.
no, no, no. You don't get to say, all right, then maybe and move on. You
Okay,
accept
fine,
that
fine.
you were
All
wrong
right.
about
Yes,
Josh
yes.
Allen.
I accept what you said. But you're John Brown wouldn't even be like the third receiver. That's just what how like how does that argument going behind two all pros? That doesn't make him a better player. That just means that the two all pros are better than him. Like,
I don't know, but I'm saying if you want to say production, like he gets less yards and all that, that's because Brandon Cooks isn't the number one receiver. I mean, he is the number one receiver, and he's not backing up two All Pros.
but Brandon Cooks has had this production for multiple years, so he's like good enough that you can
Did
say
he
he's
have
like
it this
talented.
year?
Yeah, he had 1,200 yards.
Yeah, being the number one receiver,
No, he was only number one receiver for like 5 games.
he was the number one receiver.
When Will Fuller was playing, Will Fuller was like a Pro Bowler, so he was obviously number one receiver.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, dude, Will Fuller was. Look, let me tell you Will Fuller's stats, okay? Some of his games. In the first game, 8 catches, 112 yards, 4 catches, 54 yards, 6 catches, 108 yards, 6 catches, 123 yards, 5 catches, 100 yards, 4 catches, 58 yards, 6 catches, 80 yards, 6 catches, 171 yards. He was he. Let's see. In 11 games, he had 879 yards. So if he played 5 more games, he would have easily had 1,200 yards or more, in my opinion. But I probably would have put Brandon Cook's stats a little more down, but still.
He was saying something.
Oh no, I wasn't.
All right, do you have anything else to say?
No, not really.
All right, thanks for listening to this episode of the Momentum Chef podcast. Catch you to the next one.